Fast, accurate. You're watching WSBT Channel 22 News, Saturday morning.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. Notre Dame takes on Rutgers in just a few hours. A lot of people going to be watching the game this afternoon. I'm with Rick Carter from Sportsbeat on WSBT Radio. Thanks so much for joining us, Rick.
Great to be here.
This is kind of an interesting game. First of all, it's up in New York City.
Yeah.
And my first question, when I found out that they had chosen the Pinstripe Bowl in New York, was why in heaven's name did they choose the Pinstripe Bowl up there in the Northeast when they could have chosen Hawaii?
Yeah, one of the reasons is the Pinstripe Bowl chose them, really wanted Notre Dame to come. The options were always going to be kind of what's the least worst of everything because they weren't going to go to a BCS bowl. They don't have any other natural tie-ins with some of the mid-tier bowls, so it was down to just a very few. The Hawaii Bowl was an option, but it's played on Christmas Eve. Not very long after finals are done, they would have had a very limited time to practice, get on a plane, get to Hawaii. They did play there a few years ago and had an enjoyable experience, but I think this just made more sense. There's a natural fan base in New York City. It's a nice payout. And again, the Pinstripe Bowl really wanted Notre Dame.
Obviously, it's not the championship game, but it's still an important game.
Sure.
What are the implications of winning or losing this game?
Well, one of the implications is they play a Rutgers team that barely became bowl eligible. They're 6-6. They don't have nearly the talent that the Irish do. And so this would be a very, very bad loss. There are probably no long-term implications other than this is a game they should really win.
Will they win?
I would hope so. So many times bowl games come down to who wants it the most, who's focused, whose seniors aren't looking forward to their careers going into the NFL, whatever. So I would hope the Irish are ready to play this game. The thing you have to remember about Rutgers kids, a lot of them grew up in the shadow of Yankee Stadium. They're Yankees fans. The chance to play in this hallowed ground, even though it's the new Yankee Stadium, you still think of Ruth and Gehrig and all that. So they're going to be psyched, and they'll be psyched to play Notre Dame. Notre Dame has a big presence in the Northeast, maybe more excited than Notre Dame, even though the Irish have a lot more talent. It's still a game that would concern me a little bit that hopefully these guys want to be there, want to play.
All right, let's think ahead now to next year. The new schedules just came out for the next few years. They're definitely tougher
Daunting schedules,
than they have been. But also we have our star quarterback back. What are you seeing for next year?
Everett Golson has now been officially readmitted to the university. He won't play, of course, today. And he hasn't even practiced with the team. But he should be the starting quarterback next year. They'll give lip service to Malik Zaire, who will be a returning backup, challenging Everett Golson. It's hard for me to believe that would really happen, and that would be a big disappointment if he were able to overtake Everett Golson. It would also mean Malik had played well. There's one big question mark, although I think it's probably answered in that their best returning defensive player is Stephon Tuitt, who could jump to the NFL. Most people think he will, but there is a chance he would come back, so we'll keep an eye on that. And, of course, recruiting is always important. There are some players in the Northeast that Notre Dame is recruiting. There are some players from the Northeast that are on the team right now from New York City, so that plays into it as well. What happens in February, National Signing Day. I don't think this game today has real long-term implications, but there are some things that we'll be looking for next year, and it is going to be a very tough schedule for the next 3 years now that we know who's on it and where they play.
Let's hope they play better than they played this year.
Yeah, well, 8-4 is a little bit of a disappointment. Let's hope they play better than they did in the national championship game against Alabama. Luckily, who you play has a lot to do with that, and this is not Alabama they're playing today.
Yeah. All right, Rick, thank you so much again.
Great to be here.
Game starts at noon, but you guys are on the radio starting, what, at 9 o'clock?
Yeah, coming up very shortly. We'll be on at 9 a.m. We go from 9 to 11 with our pregame show. Make sure you listen to us on 96.1 FM, 960 AM, WSBT Radio.
Thank you for coming in this morning.
Thanks for having me.
All right, well.